All right, business bosses. As you guys can see from the title, this video is an update on the NAV account. You guys have been commenting, you guys have been asking, and I am here to deliver, okay? So first I want to introduce myself for those of you who are not familiar with who I am. My name is Patrice S. Jordan. I am the president of Her Secret Vault, now rebranded to Bosses Build Business Credit. I teach entrepreneurs how to build business credit using EIN only. All right. So let's get into today's video. Today's video is about NAV. So I did a video, I want to say a couple of months ago, might have been a year ago, where I talked to you guys about NAV, utilizing two separate NAV accounts in order for you to get two separate trade lines. Unfortunately, due to changes that NAV has now made, I wanted to come in and update you guys on what's happening with NAV, okay? So before I actually jump into what's happening with NAV, I want to show you guys some things in the NAV back office that I want everybody to make sure that you have on your profile, okay? I am going to be utilizing my 16-year-old daughter's profile. Very proud of her, by the way. For her to have a 1-year-old business and have the type of profile that she have, I am like super excited. I can't wait for her to come back. She's out in New York right now because there's some things that I also need her to work with, but I try not to do the work for her. I want her to do the work herself. Only if I need to like step in on like bigger things, but she understands business credit for the most part, how to build business credit, how to create a profile. So I want to show you guys her profile and what she has done for herself, okay? So we're going to be utilizing her profile to go over our NAV breakdown today. All right, y'all, so let's get into this, all right? Let's get into it. So the profile is already pulled up. Y'all know I like to get straight to the point. I don't like to beat around the bush with you guys. I like to get straight to the point. All right. So first, make sure that your business name is exactly how it's listed on your corporate documentations. Okay. This is her business name and how it's located on her corporate documentation. Business address. Make sure your business address is exactly how it is on your corporate documentation. Anytime you guys make changes to your business, as far as your business address, make sure that you go into your NAV account and you update that address, all right? As you guys can see, we started this business in January of 2022. She has a toll-free number, disregard personal credit score. We just put that in there for right now. Not that she's far off, but just disregard it, okay? Monthly revenue, and this can be an average of monthly revenue, right? I always tell you guys projected income. So once you guys sign up for NAV, make sure that you guys go in and you fill in all this information, because a lot of you guys do not fill in this information. You have to fill in this information, all right? Inside of NAV, usually we use management consultant, but inside of NAV for their specific industry code, they don't just have management consultant. They have administrative management consultant, which is what I don't want you guys to do. So I want you guys to utilize other management consulting services. That is totally okay. All right. She has an LLC, consumer base. We're talking to both business owners and consumers when it comes to building business credit. Okay. As you guys can see with her Dun & Bradstreet, her Experian, and her Equifax, her business itself is found on each one of these bureaus because we are building business credit and utilizing trade lines that reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. Okay, so make sure that you guys have this information completed. And the way that you will find that, once you go to settings, you'll go to your profile. Okay, so you drop down over here on the left-hand side, you go to profile, and then you pull up this information. And please complete this information, guys. This is very important. A lot of you guys leave this blank. And what happens is that NAV and them pick this stuff for you. And then when it's not done right, then you guys have to go back in, make all the changes. And this is why a lot of you guys' profile end up becoming shaky, because your NIAX code and your SIC code become high risk. Okay, so important thing that I wanted to give to you guys before I jump into the updates with NAV. Okay, now let's get into the updates with NAV. All right, so we're going to go to NAV business credit, build business credit, right to the top. Once you go into it, you see where it says build your business credit to get better financing, gain an automatic trade line from your NAV Prime, because it's now NAV Prime. Okay, remember we were doing like NAV Boost, is now NAV Prime. Okay, So your NAV Prime account. Now, here's the thing with NAV Prime now, and I think it's because they caught on to what we were doing. Yes, I'll take full credit for it. Okay. Now they have where you can add a second monthly trade line when you use a NAV Prime card. So once you sign up for NAV, you get an automatic trade line with NAV. But in order for you to get that second trade line now, you have to utilize the NAV Prime card. Excuse me, y'all. That's like a tongue twister. The NAV Prime card. Okay. So yes, we're still able to do 2 trade lines with NAV, but it's just a little bit different now, right? So let's kind of get into this a little bit. All right. So get your NAV Prime. Now, my daughter does not have a paid account with them anymore because she does not need it. She does not need it because she already utilized NAV before NAV made these changes. She utilized it. And then once your trade line reports, you don't need to keep specific trade lines. You don't need to keep some trade lines. You have to keep, you have to use it. You have to, in order for it to be active, in order for it to report, in order for it to stay afloat. Okay, with some trade lines, you do not have to keep it active. This is one of those things. We did not have to keep it active. So if you look at the NAV Prime account, the only ones that they're offering to us now is that $49.99 plan. Okay, or if you pay $149 for the quarter. I tell you guys all the time, I never recommend quarter because it's going to take about a month or 2 for this trade line to report. Once it reports, then you cancel it. And no, I get this question all the time. No, they're not going to go back and take your trade line away. Think about it. How can they go back in and take your trade line away? All right. So keep it for a month or 2. Once it reports to the credit bureaus, the business bureaus, excuse me, then you want to make sure that you cancel it because now you're just wasting money. All right. Now, I do have a lot of people who keep this trade line because they're like, well, I want to see the grade. Instead of them seeing letters, they want to see numbers. And I'll show you the difference with the 2 after this. Okay. So once you finish here, you put in continue, do your payment, and now you have an automatic trade line with NAV. That's the first one. If you go down to the bottom here, you can read up on more details on it where it says 2 trade line, NAV Prime card, a NAV checking account. So there's so many different things that NAV had added for us as small business owners, which is really, really good. So with the NAV Prime card, a business charge card, right? So the business charge card where daily spending can build your business credit. 2 trade lines is always better than 1, especially with something like NAV. Like NAV reports super fast. A lot of these net 30 vendors or some of these net 30 vendors that we use, they do not report as fast as NAV reports. So I will always recommend for you guys to do that. And the charge card is a little bit different than you guys canceling, right? Because once you guys receive that NAV charge card is obviously something that you have to spend. You have to make sure that you're utilizing, once they take out that money, then, they take it back out and making sure that you guys pay these bills, right, guys? Because a lot of you guys are signing up for these accounts and you guys are not paying these bills. You have to pay these bills in order for you guys to continue building business credit. And then you end up defaulting on your business credit. I don't want you guys to do that because we work hard to build our business. We don't want to keep utilizing these vendors and end up defaulting on it. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you guys here is the difference between the NAV number versus the NAV letters. Keep in mind, again, that NAV is just the net asset value of your company. A lot of you guys get so caught up in NAV saying, well, NAV is not reflecting that. NAV is not reflecting this. NAV is a third-party company. Net asset value of your company. Nothing more, nothing less. You get your scoring from the actual bureaus, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business. So when you guys do trade lines are not, for instance, NAV. You do NAV as a trade line. NAV is not reporting to NAV. NAV is reporting to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. NAV is a trade line. It's a third-party company. So stop getting caught up with NAV saying my NAV is this and my NAV is not showing me this. It doesn't generate from NAV. right? Those scores are generated from Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. NAV just happens to show you all three of them in one place versus you having to do separate accounts of Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. We do that anyways because it allows us to control our business versus waiting for NAV to update something when the Dun & Bradstreet may be saying something else. Experian may be saying something else. Equifax may be saying something else. So I make sure on my end that I add these trade lines, or I'll set these bureaus on my own as far as signing up for account with them, so I can monitor my profile way better than depending on NAV, because NAV is not it. NAV, we utilize NAV for what we need to utilize NAV for, which is for building our business credit. You can monitor your business credit from NAV, but NAV is not a bureau that reports your trade line, okay? So again, I want to show you guys the quick difference before I let you guys go. Now, with this, okay, so if you guys see, this is my daughter's account. Very proud of her, by the way, guys. Dun & Bradstreet, she has an A. Experian, she has an A. Equifax, she has a D. Am I worried about her Equifax account having a D? Absolutely not. Do I know what to do in order for her to build this? Absolutely. But as a parent, we have to set our kids up for success. I'm not going to do the work for her. I need her to do the work, okay? As I mentioned earlier in the video, she's out in New York right now. Totally okay. As soon as she comes back, she has work to do. Now, same exact thing for you guys. If you guys see letters like D's and F on your Equifax, now we're not talking about Dun & Bradstreet. We're not talking about Experian. We're talking about Equifax. If you see those letters on Equifax as a brand new business, I would not worry about that much, simply because there are not that many Equifax business trade lines. You will find more Dun & Bradstreet trade lines, more Experian trade line. But once you guys start getting into like the gas cards, the credit cards, and the loans, this is where your Equifax account will start to pick up. Now, there are certain vendors that can help you guys raise your score, and that's something that I'm going to be giving to my daughter once she comes back, so she'll be able to do this herself. Again, can I go in and do it for her? Absolutely. Am I going to do it? Absolutely not, right? Because we have to set our kids up for success. We can't do everything for them, and then when it's time for them to be successful, they know nothing. So she completely built out this profile herself. Her profile is great. Again, I'm not worried about Equifax because Equifax comes later down the line. Everything that we do right now from tier 1 to tier 3, including Airbnb, including getting vehicles under your business, deals with Dun & Bradstreet and Experian, does not deal with Equifax. Equifax comes later down the line. So for those of you who do have Equifax and you have a low Equifax score, I will highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys add more Equifax vendors. I literally just dropped a business vendor ebook that gives you guys more vendors for Equifax, Experian, and Dun & Bradstreet. So that's something, if you guys are interested in that, you guys can do that as well, okay? As far as getting your getting the business credit, the business vendor, ebook to help you guys to be able to build business credit better, to make your profile look better. Okay. So guys, this is my update for you guys. I know that you guys have been waiting. I've been waiting as well too, to make sure I have all the right information before I come and I drop this video for you guys to be able to help you guys with the new action with the NAV account. Okay, so I appreciate you guys as entrepreneurs as always. I thank you guys for tuning into my channel on YouTube. As a reminder, Bosses Build Business Credit. I'll talk to you guys soon.